California Governor Gavin Newsom is now calling his city's homeless encampments unacceptable, which is odd since he's the guy who, made them acceptable, turning sidewalks into red carpet events for drug addicts, thieves, and unemployed CNN anchors. On Monday, he urged cities to ban the camps from sidewalks, parks, and other public areas. So after years of denying the problem, he's now pretending to fix it, which is like putting on a...
When Greg Gutfeld takes aim at Gavin Newsom, it's not just for laughs, it's a full-on political takedown. Using sharp humor and nonstop sarcasm, Gutfeld cuts through the polished image to reveal the deeper problems in California. He points to rising crime, businesses shutting down, and political showmanship as signs of real trouble. Sure, Newsom's hair always looks perfect, but under Gutfeld's spotlight, his leadership doesn't hold up. To Gutfeld, California didn't...
So if restoring order is evil, then the Dems are now the party of disorder. Turns out the only system they had was wokeism, and it rotted any basic principles the party had to begin with. Which is why, like Gavin himself, they're left looking at 2028's hopes going up in flames. And this time, no one is going to help them put it out.
Gavin Newsom walks into a room like he's ready for a shampoo ad, hair perfectly styled, confidence dialed up to 10. But Greg Gutfeld isn't impressed. To him, Newsom's not entering a serious debate, he's walking straight into the fire. And Gutfeld?
Apparently the baked bread exemption has puzzled observers for months, but Newsom told reporters it's just part of the sausage making of politics. So what's that mean, sausage making? We know it has nothing to do with Gavin cooking. He prefers dining out, especially when everyone else is locked down under threat of arrest. The phrase refers to the unpleasant way in which a process is carried out behind the scenes. When someone says, you don't want to know how the sausage is made, it's usually referring to something.
Greg jumps right into calling out the double standards, slamming Newsom for pushing green policies while hopping on private jets like it's no big deal. It's the kind of contradiction that's hard to ignore. All the while, wildfires burn, water runs low, and California still ranks high in carbon emissions. But sure, his wineglass selfie on Instagram looked eco-friendly enough. Gotta keep those priorities straight, right?
That's right.
California Governor Gavin Newsom and Mayor Karen Bass denounced the federal immigration raids. So now they don't want California to have ice or water. So last week, Newsom said he hopes the conservative Supreme Court will overturn the current law that bans his state from removing out-of-control homeless encampments. Imagine that. Well, what did you expect, Gavin? That the sanctuary seekers were going to show up in Winnebago?
Greg goes after Newsom's handling of the housing crisis like a wrecking crew in high gear. He points out the obvious: here's a governor who can't seem to get homes built for working families, but has no trouble churning out executive orders left and right. Plans stall, red tape blocks progress, and so-called affordable housing ends up squeezed into random backyards. And Newsom's big fix? A flashy billboard campaign. Because nothing says we're solving homelessness like some eye-catching posters.
If you could be the governor of any state, what would it be? And you might say, oh, I would be in Texas, live free or die. No, that's New Hampshire.
Sure.
Just live free, whatever. It's
or just die.
Die, or just, it's California. Because people can live under the most incompetent governance ever, but it's still California, right?
Then there's California's crime surge, Newsom style. Greg jokes that the governor must think he has a magic wand, because all we get are buzzwords dressed up as community engagement. Meanwhile, carjackings, open-air drug deals, and aggressive panhandling have turned everyday streets into something out of a dystopian movie. Locals practically need a survival guide just to get through the weekend. And what's Newsom's response? Another press release about compassion.
So why do I keep bringing up Gavin? Well, other than my respect for his work in American Psycho, he's starting to distance himself from his party's worst ideas. Newsom, a guy who hates fossil fuels but could still bring down the price of gas by wringing out his hair, once proclaimed that his state would be a sanctuary to all who seek it. Then people actually came, tons of them, moving faster than a mob of Walgreens.
Greg takes it even further, calling out what he sees as Gavin Newsom's constant grandstanding. One day it's cancel this, the next it's mandate that, plus a few scoldings for other states just to round things out. At this point, Greg jokes, Newsom's middle name might as well be Performance. He's become California's top virtue signaler, showing off his executive power like a kid bragging about eating all the dessert. What Greg wants. Real solutions, quietly and effectively funded, without the governor tweeting about them from a scenic overlook while the state burns behind him. Then there's the state budget, which Greg compares to Newsom's personal checkbook. It's packed with wild spending, grants to just about anyone with a slogan, and flashy programs that make headlines today but rack up debt tomorrow. Taxpayer dollars get funneled into big ideas like high-speed rail, experimental climate tech, and universal perks, while basic roads, schools, and services fall apart. And of course, Greg doesn't let the hypocrisy slide.
So after years of denying the problem, he's now pretending to fix it, which is like putting on a condom as you're leaving a whorehouse. Who hasn't?
What's a condom?
But as always, when a far-left Dem runs for national office, he acts like a Republican. This is where the left is really pro-trans. Suddenly, they grow bald.
Greg doesn't ease up when it comes to Gavin Newsom's big talk on healthcare. Universal coverage, mental health reform, drug treatment programs, it all sounds impressive until you look closer. In reality, it's mostly talk, endless planning sessions, pilot projects, and committees. Try getting a basic checkup, and you're looking at a 6-month wait. Meanwhile, state officials keep praising their strategic vision. Then there's the education meltdown. Schools shut down, parents were left scrambling, and students fell behind fast. California's academic rankings have been dropping, but Newsom keeps pushing feel-good slogans about equity and access, while real outcomes keep getting worse. And Greg doesn't miss the Hollywood connection either. He says Newsom's Golden State model runs more on lobbyists, insider deals, and celebrity backing than on actual results, popping up faster than the latest trendy license plate. In Greg's view, it's not a state government, it's a full-blown talent agency. The only question left, who's actually getting things done?
So Newsom is fed up with tent cities, the crime, the urban decay? No, he's not mad about that stuff. He's mad you noticed. It's like a criminal telling a jury he's sorry he robbed 25 banks, when he's just sorry he got caught on the 26th. Because this isn't some spontaneous crisis. It's a man-made disaster like Chernobyl or Fox and Friends.
Greg takes aim at Gavin Newsom's pandemic performance, starting with how he positioned himself as the king of lockdowns, shutting down salons, gyms, and even bakery lines, all while telling Californians to stay disciplined. But then, there he was, caught dining at the French Laundry like it was a campaign kickoff. His policies shifted faster than his private jet itinerary. Gutfeld points out the double standard. The strict rules were for everyone else. Newsom signs the laws, then turns around and breaks them, with a smile for the cameras.
Reality.
Gavin ponders why Dems lost.
We lost. We lost the popular vote, and we lost the electoral vote. We got crushed. And we need to be humble about that, and we need to have some grace, and we need to understand why. Was it because of the incumbency penalty? Was it because of inflation? Was it because of interest rates? Was it because of immigration? Was it because we were too, quote-unquote, woke? Was it because of the issues with Israel? Was it all of the above? I think we are going through that forensic. We need to understand it. At the same time, we also have to push back against the whitewaters and headwinds of the Trump administration.
Greg Gutfeld doesn't skip over Gavin Newsom's environmental record either. While Newsom talks up a zero-carbon future, behind the scenes he's quietly signing off on new fossil fuel permits, hidden under layers of carbon offsets and confusing jargon. California slaps on carbon taxes, then quietly hands out industry waivers that no one reads. As Greg puts it, Newsom's speeches are greener than his results. Then there's Gavin's political climb, mayor, lieutenant governor, now governor, each step built on big campaign promises. But by the time he's reached the top, the whole staircase is wobbling. Still, Newsom grins like a kid who just built a Lego palace, never mind the missing foundation. Greg also calls out one of Newsom's go-to moves, the endless parade of task forces. When California faces a crisis, out comes a new commission, with a flashy name like Future Now or Innovation Cohort, followed by a press conference and not much else. Greg says no one uses buzzwords like...
So Los Angeles is on fire again. It's like deja vu, the French words for Newsom sucks. So while ICE was out investigating a criminal conspiracy, rioters assumed it was an immigration raid and swarmed and assaulted the feds. And no surprise, the state's leadership spent 2 days giving the rioters more support than Pelosi's underwire.
Greg jumps right into the mess that is Gavin Newsom's energy policy, laughing at the idea of shutting down nuclear plants while telling Californians not to use their air conditioners during heat waves. The tech capital of the world has basically been reduced to please don't microwave dinner at 7 p.m. The irony is so thick, it could melt into the pavement. Blackouts have become so common, Greg jokes that soon candles might get taxed as a luxury, and who's behind it all? The guy whose backup generator probably runs on pure showmanship. Greg points out how Newsom turns every issue into a moral crusade. Every press conference feels like a sermon, and every new law is treated like a commandment. Meanwhile, California's bureaucracy is so tangled, you need a license just to run a lemonade stand, and a degree in zoning laws to fix a fence. But while small businesses drown in red tape, Gavin's corporate friends get tax breaks handed out like party favors. Newsom says he fights for the little guy, but only if that guy's already on his donor list or starring in one of his...
The more bread you have, the less crap you gotta eat. But in Gavin Newsom's California, they mean it literally. California recently passed a law mandating a higher minimum wage for fast food restaurants, raising it from 16 to 20 bucks an hour. But it offers an odd exemption for chains that bake bread and sell it as a standalone item. Why? What difference does that make? Why shouldn't a restaurant/bakery be subject to the same laws as everybody else? Is the bakers union that powerful? If you cross them, will you wind up with the Pillsbury Doughboy's head in your bed? No one will say. But according to a new Bloomberg News report, Newsom pushed for the bread exemption to help a longtime campaign donor, billionaire Greg Flynn, who happens to own a bunch of Panera Bread.
Greg doesn't hold back on Gavin Newsom's strange habit of comparing California to entire countries. Newsom loves to say things like, if California were a nation, as if running a struggling DMV is the same as managing a global economy. Greg laughs and fires back, if California were a country, it'd be the one always rescuing its own people from potholes and wildfire evacuations. Then there's the water crisis. Greg calls out Newsom for blaming climate change while ignoring the real problem, California's crumbling water system. Important water projects get tangled up in endless environmental red tape. Droughts hit like clockwork, yet the state's always caught unprepared. Whenever Newsom steps in front of a camera, he's slick and polished, selling hope like it's on clearance. But when he tries to take shots at Texas or Florida, California just trips over its own problems. Greg lists the highlights: soaring crime, falling apart cities, and sidewalks that look more like open-air rehab centers. Greg says Newsom seems to think charm can replace real skill. The perfect hair, the bright smile, the practiced gestures. It's like watching a political Barbie doll with one speech and lots of costume changes. All show, no substance, in a state full of chaos.
Kennedy, I think the answer is yes. Was
it because of Israel? Yes. Interest rates? Yes. Too woke? Yes. It's like every bad policy that trickled up to the White House during the Biden administration started in California. That state is responsible for the worst politicians in modern history. And he is at the top of the list. And there are some ignoramuses on that list.
Adam Schiff,
Nancy Pelosi, Kamala Harris.
Yes.
Like, those are all the people who are the products of the California mono-party vacuum. And he's the guy who thinks he's going to run for president when, so much of the state is absolutely unlivable. And so every project that he's championed, he's now trying to demonize conveniently. And people are not that